On this week's Most Craved, is poor Superman not getting Man of Steel 2?
How many Prometheus sequels can you take?
Wesley Snipes wants another sequel to one of his most popular films. To Wong Fu, thanks for everything. Julie Newmar, Reloaded.
Hey guys, welcome to Most Craved. I'm Jenna Bush with Legion of Leia.
I'm Silas Lesnick with ComingSoon.net.
And I'm William Bibiani with Crave Online. Hey everybody, sequels. They're back and they're sequelier than sequels.
Were they ever gone?
Were they? Well, everyone was going reboot for a while, and now everyone's like, I feel like we're reached this new point where it's like, oh, remember all those nostalgia movies? People want them respected, so we'll do like another sequel that sort of rewrites them and makes them less good.
Let's do stuff without numbers after it.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, that was a good segue. Okay, so apparently Zack Snyder has been talking about Man of Steel 2 and how Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice may actually be Man of Steel 2, and then Justice League will be sort of a Knights of the Round Table. That's what he said.
Which is a nice way of saying, yeah, we don't think Superman can hold his own ever, so we're just going to dump other superhero movies into his movies so we don't have to make another actual Superman film.
Well, see, okay, so here's what I think about this. If we're trying to catch up with Marvel, which is obviously what we're doing here, I think it doesn't make sense to do another solo film for somebody whose origin we've already gotten. It will, for me, it would turn into like an Iron Man 3, where like...
So it'd be really awesome?
I did not like it, but the reason I'm saying that is because, you know, Tony Stark's house blows up. So what's happening? Like, Black Widow is sitting around with the other Avengers going, hey, dude, did you hear Tony's house blew up? Hawkeye? He's like, yeah, whatever. I don't really like that guy. Let's not help. And Cap's like, okay, cool. Like,
they were busy.
Doing what?
They had other stuff going on. But Tony Stark's house blew up, and then 5 minutes later, that whole bit was over.
Yeah, for all you know, they came up and showed up at the house. And like, oh, where'd he go?
Yeah,
they should have put that scene on the DVD.
That would have been you know what? That would have been a great post-credit stinger.
Actually, that would have been really funny.
That would have been really
probably
awesome.
Fine.
I think that when it comes to it's a weird like discussion because it's sort of like a rose by any other name. Like, so what if it's Man of Steel 2 versus like another Batman? Or like, one of the things DC has done very well is sort of blur the lines of. I suspect when we get Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, it's gonna maybe feel like the Christopher Nolan movies happen, but they won't exactly have happened. And yet we will have Batman coming back and just sort of treat it more like this iconography rather than like exact continuity that has to be continued.
I take exception to the idea that what you just said, that DC is really good at blurring the lines. We don't know what they're good at yet. This entire cycle of their superhero films, we've had one.
Well,
we haven't seen them yet.
We have. I mean, why is it these are the DC films? Because Marvel has a film universe. DC has been making films consistently for
But they're not
decades.
in continuity with anything, though.
But why do they need to be?
They're starting a new genre. We don't know if they're going to do these new films. We don't know what these new films are doing and what they're doing well yet. We don't know.
Well, I mean,
That's my
just
whole point.
I guess going from what we've seen so far, because I kind of suspect the same thing, that we're going to think of like the Nolan stuff may have happened. There's a backstory there, and that now he's older Batman, and so
because that works so well for Prometheus.
Well, that happened with Batman Begins. There were a lot of people that after Batman Begins actually came out and was in theaters just thought of it as a prequel to the Tim Burton movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it sort of syncs up.
I don't even remember that.
I don't.
But okay.
I actually do remember that, but
okay.
But yeah, no. I mean, I think
There's a lot of people who think Gotham is a prequel to the Adam West universe.
Could be.
And that's actually makes more sense.
Now, one of the things I think is sort of weird about the idea of like catching up with Marvel is like, well, you know, if DC pulls off their multiverse stuff on The Flash, all of a sudden they have a huge, vast multiverse of everything they've ever done, which, I mean, if you're just going by quantity, certainly outnumbers Marvel.
Yeah, and Flash has been really, really good, so I like Flash.
I know you like Flash.
I like Flash.
I
like it. What? It's good. Agree with me in the comments. Please,
I like
you're going to
Flash.
be pissed at me for everything else I say.
I like Flash too. I just like it. I like Flash. It sounds like something Mark Hamill would say on the show.
Thank you.
Prometheus.
Prometheus.
I tried to segue and you wouldn't let me.
I know.
Do what you got to do.
That's not what you're going to do.
Yeah, tell me about Prometheus.
So this news came from a German site this week, and it's one of those things where it's, okay, well, it's translated presumably an English interview into German, back to English. But what it seems like Ridley Scott says is that Prometheus will ultimately connect directly to the Alien franchise, which we saw glimpses of with the first one. But not necessarily in Prometheus 2, and maybe not even in Prometheus 3, but maybe Prometheus 4. So he's got some sort of arc planned out for where he's going to take the alien universe.
I don't know if we need that many Prometheuses.
No.
I didn't listen. The first Prometheus is not a terrible movie. I just didn't particularly care for it. But even if you really, really like Prometheus, is this the kind of franchise who's like, God, I hope there are 4 of them. I hope that we get one of these like every year, like Star Wars or the Marvel Universe films. Is it really that? Is it?
No.
I don't know if I feel like maybe you could do that in 1 or 2 movies. Ridley, I don't know.
Yes.
I'm not a fan of Prometheus. What I will say about it is I think it's a beautiful looking movie.
Yes.
And with
Opening
Ridley
sequence,
Scott,
gorgeous.
Ridley Scott's amazing to me because I will see a movie of his that I just completely adore, and then he can make a movie a year later that I just think is garbage.
He's alarmingly hit or miss. The Martian is great, by the way.
But there's something, even Robin Hood, which I have trouble sitting through. I just find it very
Yeah,
slow.
it's no.
It's still fascinating, the amount of work that went into that movie and the historical accuracy he's going for. So the idea of Ridley Scott as somebody who really likes to design an intricate universe, I'd like to see how he treats working on several movies at one time. And
I would too. I just don't know if I want it to be Prometheus.
I would like it to be anything but Prometheus. I know you don't agree with me. I know you don't agree with me. I know you're going to be mad at me, but I just don't like it.
White Squall. I want 5 of them. One a year.
White
well, the weird thing
Squalls.
about Prometheus too is there's some discussion that maybe it's going to hinder Neil Blomkamp's Alien 5.
Well, yeah.
Please don't do that.
I don't know. I feel like make them if they're good, if they're bad. It's just this big universe. They're making another Predator movie. Theoretically, that's the same universe.
Yeah.
Although if you want to get really into it, they crossed over with all the DC comics in the comic books.
That
so
is
like,
true.
Yeah, and Terminator as well.
Yeah.
So it's all.
well, that brings in the time travel and it
Yeah.
fixes everything.
And look, if
And
they're
didn't
good,
they make
it's
RoboCop
fine.
too?
Yeah, Terminator RoboCop
Terminator
with
RoboCop,
Frank
so
Miller
it's all-
Yep.
and Walt
And
Simonson.
they all
Yeah.
take place inside the head of that kid from the end of St. Elsewhere. So there you go.
Of course.
It all works out.
Sure.
It all works out. Meanwhile, Wesley Snipes wants more Blade because of course he would.
But I like Blade.
I
More
like Blade 2. I
Blade's
like
fine.
I like specifically Blade 2. I like Blade 1 okay, and certainly Blade deserves a lot of credit for the entire superhero boom as it exists now.
Yeah.
That is kind of the thing that really set it off.
Yay for Blade.
And then Blade Trinity sucked a lot. And then I tried watching the TV show
I
and it
watched
wasn't
the TV
very
show.
good. Okay.
It wasn't, but I watched all of it because I like Blade.
Here's my thing though. Marvel isn't really big on like, oh, we got this property back. We'd better respect the previous films and bring them back.
Well,
They're not. They're going to want their own Blade.
there was the Blade comic that featured his daughter that was put on hold, and that might be something that we see.
Perchance,
I'd be fine with that too.
if you want like him, if you want Wesley Snipes to play Whistler now, I'd be down with that.
Frankly, I think it would be cool. I take it to the 70s. That's where Tomb of Dracula
Right?
comic is from.
yes.
Do a cool 70s. Don't even make a Blade movie. Make a Tomb of Dracula movie and have Blade one of the featured characters.
That was one of the things with Blade Trinity. It's Blade versus Dracula. How do you not call it Blade versus Dracula
I
or
don't know.
Blade in the Tomb of Dracula? Like I would have totally paid to see that twice, even if it sucked.
Yeah.
Just to encourage that kind of titling. But I agree. I kind of want to see more of this like history of Marvel Universe, and the idea of Blade and Dracula and all these characters being immortal gives you more of an opportunity to do that. And as we were discussing before the show, you know, who make a great Dracula in the Marvel Universe, Nicolas Cage.
Oh.
Nicolas
Yes.
Cage in like Werewolf Women of the SS.
Especially the Marvel Dracula,
Yeah.
who is
Yes.
this like. And also Nicolas Cage it's his favorite thing in the world is the Tomb of Dracula comics.
Put him in it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah. So sequels.
Sequels.
Yeah.
I would say though, like sequels aren't a bad thing.
If they're good,
like-
I'm on board.
Not intrinsically, and certainly there are enough good sequels and even remakes and reboots now that the idea that they always suck is a fallacy. It certainly is a
Absolutely.
dramatic fallacy. It's
That's
always
true.
a concern because most of everything sucks. Go to any bookstore, most of the books suck. Go to any online streaming site, most of the movies suck. Okay? There's enough really, really good ones that you'll probably never see them all before you die, but most of them suck. I think it's just a matter of do you want to see more of it? And in the case of Blade,
Yes.
maybe?
Yes.
In the case of Prometheus, not
No.
really.
Well, I feel with
in the case of Batman v Superman, I kind of want another. I want a real Superman movie for the first damn time.
We've had plenty of Superman
We've
movies.
had. I am alone on this, but the only Superman movie that I really, really dig, like all entirely on its own, and yes, it has enormous problems. Superman 4: The Quest for Peace.
Oh dear.
I'm not even goddamn kidding.
Oh.
Okay.
I'm a big Superman fan, and I find something to like in all of them, but I actually love Bryan Singer's Superman Returns. Like,
It's an underrated film, isn't it?
I think it's sort of, I mean, in response to the sequels, it's a film that doesn't need a sequel. It's just a Superman story that is completely self-contained, sort of pays homage to the Richard Donner films.
Right.
And
Well, Quest for Peace is the only Superman movie that's about what it means to be Superman, what it means to the world. It says, hey, Superman, you want to help the world? We have actual problems. Solve, all of our fears about the Cold War. And he does, and that creates more problems. And it incorporates every single character in the Superman mythos. Lex Luthor is finally actually a mad scientist and not just some demented landowner. Yes, Lenny Luthor is annoying, but he actually is useful, unlike Otis. He actually does things successfully. It ends in a knockdown,
Otis
drag-out
for years.
fight. I hate Otis so much. Otis Berg!
Oh God.
Quest for Peace is cheap and it has problems, but you look at that movie and it is the skeleton on which every other successful superhero franchise frames their stories now.
I need to watch it again, I think.
It's an interesting film.
are we going to Addis Ababa?
Punch. Most Craved. Next week on Most Craved, we'll be talking about more newsy stuff. You can follow us here in this sort of Twittery area at Most Craved.